Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar. My name is Manoush, and today we are going to show you how to set up a Jira Azure DevOps integration and configure the sync afterward using Exalate. We will also walk you through an advanced use case where a frictionless collaboration between Jira and Azure DevOps teams is discussed in detail. Before we start, I want to let you know that you can ask any questions you have in the chat tool on the right side of the screen. We'll make sure to get back to you as soon as possible, but if we are not able to answer your questions, we'll try our best to get back to you after this webinar. Let's begin. Over to Jose.
Thank you for attending the webinar. Next, I'll show you a little bit of how Exalate works and what Exalate is overall. And we will see some use case and what it works for between to integrate Jira and Azure DevOps. So first, I'll start with a little presentation that shows you a little bit, gets you a better idea of what Exalate is. So Exalate is the leading cross-company synchronization solution for task management systems like Jira, Azure DevOps, and we also support other trackers or systems like ServiceNow, GitHub, and others like Zendesk. And there are more coming, so feel free to drop us a question if you have one in mind that you think we should support. So how Exalate works is you'll have to download it in your system as an add-on, and then once that add-on is installed and configured in your instance, what we call instance in this case is Jira is one instance and Azure DevOps is the other instance. Once it is installed in both of your instances, you'll create a connection that can communicate your instance to Exalate, and then from Exalate to the other Exalate in the other instance, in this case, Azure DevOps and Jira. As I was saying, these are some of the trackers we currently support. They don't have to match. It could be Jira to Azure DevOps. It could be Jira to Zendesk. It could be Zendesk to Azure DevOps, and any connection, any relation in between, any of that is possible. For Jira, you'll have to download Exalate. You go to the Atlassian Marketplace and you can find us there. We're also available for Jira Server or Data Center, and any of the sub-products from Jira, like Jira Core, Software, Service Desk, and any of these systems that have the issue entity. For the Azure DevOps side, you'll have to go to the Visual Studio Marketplace and you can download us there. Or you can also go to exalate.com, click on integrations in the top section, and you'll have a list of the systems we support, and you just click on them and they will jump you to the correct marketplace. After you have that installed and configured, you will be able to synchronize almost any data from the issues or work item entity, in this case, from Jira to Azure DevOps. You can synchronize title, description, attachments, issue types, also user data like assignee, creator, and reporter. All that can be synchronized in a bi-directional way. It could also be the case that you sync in one direction. That's also possible. Some people want that because they don't want information to flow back to the original source because of security, or it's just not needed. So all that is possible. And next, I'll show you how to create a connection in a really basic scenario where we will just sync title, description, comments, and tags from Jira to Azure DevOps bidirectionally. Then after that, you will see a really extensive and advanced use case where specific data is synced from Azure DevOps to Jira, and then only with the specific triggers that goes back to the original instance. But for now, let's stop sharing the presentation and start with the real case, out of the box, something simple, so you see how the tool works. So now you should be able to see my screen. And if I go here, to the left, there is an Azure DevOps. And then on the right, I have a Jira instance. So Exalate is already downloaded and the basic configuration is already done, which means I already gave access to Exalate to do changes in tickets and things that are needed to get a connection going. So you'll have to do that before you start a connection, but that's also very easy. And once you have that, to create a connection, you basically go to, on the Azure DevOps side, you go to the organization settings, and this tab will pop up, and you just go to the lower section. I'm going to zoom in a little so you see the button as well. And there you will have Exalate in the extensions section. When you have Exalate, you click there and you have this tab. And if you go to connections, you have all the connections. That's one of Exalate's core features. It's very flexible. You can create multiple connections. As you can see here, we have 3 which are deactivated, but all these 3 connections could be activated. And one could lead to a ServiceNow instance, another one to Jira, and another one to another Jira. Could be any case you want. So for now, since I mentioned you will need to initiate a connection. In this case, I'll initiate it from Azure DevOps. And I have 2 options. I have to choose either public or private. If I choose public, it means both of my instances are facing the internet and are not behind a firewall. That is my case for now. If this Jira was a Jira server behind a firewall, then I'll have to choose the private option. For now, I'll choose public. And now I'll have to copy the destination's instance URL, which is this URL that we have here of the Jira. I copy it and I paste it in the Exalate connection of the Azure DevOps side. Now I give some naming to the instances, just so Exalate has a name for them. In this case, I'll give ADO, Jira. I'm going to zoom in a little so you see better. And now we have 2 options. The first option is a single project option, which means one project from Azure DevOps will be connecting specifically in this connection. Or we also have the advanced project, which is more robust, and you will be able to connect multiple projects from Azure DevOps to the Jira instance. For now, I'll keep it simple and choose the single project, but you can change that afterwards if needed. Also, you'll see an advanced case afterwards. So to keep it simple, I'll choose single project and I'll choose the testing project for now. So now I have an invitation code that I'll need to copy and paste it in the Exalate panel of the Jira side. So I already copied it. If you want to see that again, I just click here and it's copied. And I go to the Exalate panel on the Jira side, which is accessible through the settings button here. You go to apps and you will have this. I already had it open too. So here's Exalate, the Exalate buttons. I go to the top right section, and instead of initiating the connection like we did in Azure DevOps, I click on accept invitation. Now I just paste the code that I generated. And I choose single project for now because I also want to connect only to a single project in Jira site for now. And I choose the project that I want to connect. So in this case, it is host a test. And now the connection is ready, and now we can already start synchronizing the issues. Just because there's a connection, this won't be automatically syncing bidirectionally. So I'll just create a trigger for now. I will go to the specific connection that I created, and I'll create a trigger. What this trigger will do is that every time that trigger gets executed, it will create a ticket in the Azure DevOps site. So I'll create the trigger, sorry. I can choose either issue or sprint. For now, I'll choose issue. And I'll add if project equals hosted test, then create an issue in Azure DevOps. This can be any query you want from Jira. And it could also be the other way around. If it can be any query you want from Azure DevOps that creates a ticket in Jira. For now, I'll just keep it as simple as hosted test, so that every time there's a ticket in this project in this project, then it will create a ticket here. So now I'll go to the hosted test project, and I'll create a ticket. I'll sync summary, description, and labels, and I'll create it. Now the ticket is created. So if I go to the ticket, we have the ticket here. I'll also do a comment. And now here we have the Exalate panel that if we click it, we see the status. And if you have admin permissions, you can jump directly to the other side. So I'll go directly to the ticket here, testing. It is synchronized already, so the ticket should be here. Here, sorry. Okay, work items, here it is. Okay, here's the ticket. And we see the title, the description, and the comment from Jira. And I'll comment back, comment from ADO, Azure DevOps, and save it. And now if we go to the Exalate panel on the Azure DevOps side, we should see the status, which should change to in progress. Yeah, there it is. And now it is waiting for remote. And now it is synchronized. So if we refresh this side, the ticket should be updated with the comment from Azure DevOps, and there it is. So this is a basic scenario where we sync title, description, and comments, and labels. So you can see the label is here. We will see a more advanced scenario with Andre's use case, which is a video that is a very robust case. And if you have any questions from this case or Andre's case, feel free to drop them in the comment section. For now, I'll stop sharing my screen, and we'll start Andre's recording. To Andre now.
All right, now we're going to talk about a real life use case. By the way, I do want to mention that this is quite an advanced use case, so you shouldn't be scared of all the coding that is done here. Most of the time, you don't have to do such advanced code if your use case is not as um, complicated. Plus, you don't need to use scripting, as there will be an option where you can use a visual mode, which is very low code, specifically made for simpler use cases, and it'll make it a lot easier and more intuitive for you if you don't have scripting or coding experience. The use case itself, it's a migration from Jira to Azure DevOps. So this company, they decided it's not possible to do the switch from Jira to Azure overnight. So the solution for them was that part of the work was going to happen in Jira and part of the work is going to happen in Azure DevOps. Basically, this company is structured in a very particular way. They have 6,000 developers, which are divided in big teams called grids, and these grids are divided in smaller teams called blocks. And they're also using in Jira a Jira portfolio add-on that allows them to have issue types that are further up from the epic. So instead of epic being the top issue type, they have episodes on top of epics and they have sagas on top of episodes. And there are some very specific requirements for this use case, but for this introductory demo, it's not necessary. If you want, you can pause the video and take a closer look at the requirements, but the main idea is described in this diagram, which is that sagas, which are the most important issue type or the biggest one, the top one, are going to be maintained only in Jira, whereas the second most important issue type, which is the episode, is going to be synchronized over from Jira to Azure DevOps in read-only mode, and then in the Azure, the epics that are created in Azure, they will be synced back to Jira. But this doesn't mean that user stories are going to sync to Jira, because actually you'll see in the configuration that I'm going to show you that user stories are not going to be synced from Azure to Jira. They'll be maintained in the Azure DevOps side. And on the left side, you can see this Jira project that is standing here by itself. It just means that even if there is synchronization from Azure epics to Jira, there can also be independent Jira projects with their own epics and user stories that are not going to be synced to Azure DevOps. Now, the next step is to actually show you the code about this synchronization. And so I have this snippet open over here. Basically, like I showed you in the first part of the demo, there are triggers which decide when information needs to be synchronized, and the trigger on the Azure DevOps side will be when the work item type is epic and it's under a specific area path. This is because, as you saw in the diagram, we're only syncing Azure DevOps epics back to Jira, and they need to be in a specific area path because that will mean that they're assigned to a certain team which has already migrated. So those are the ones that are going to sync. That's why we have this trigger on the Azure side. Whereas on the Jira side, the trigger is more simple. It's just type equals episode, because as you can see from the diagram, all Jira episodes are going to be synchronized over to Azure. Now, to get into the specifics, basically, like I showed you in the first part of the demo, each side is going to have an outgoing and an incoming script. And on the Jira outgoing script, we are deciding what information from the Jira issues, in this case the Jira episodes, are going to be sent. So these are all the fields that we're going to be sending. You can see we're sending some, besides the default fields, we're also sending some custom fields called target start, target end, and CRA ID number. And then we have the incoming sync, and there's a few important rules here. First one, you can see if replica.type name is episode, return. What this means is, like I told you before, the episodes are going to be in read-only mode on Azure, which means the Jira side doesn't want to receive synchronization back from Azure if the type is an episode. That's why the arrow is going just from Jira to Azure. So this line, it means we're not receiving sync back from Azure when the type is an episode. Then we're also not receiving any sync if the area path is null, because we want to only receive sync back from epics that are under a specific area path. And not only that, but we want to synchronize into different Jira projects depending on what area path the Azure epic has. So if the Azure epic has this area path, then the project will be PB2 in Jira. And if the Azure epic has this second area type, then area path, then the Jira project will be block 1. That's what we're setting up until this part. Then the issue type will be the same as the Jira side. So epic. Then we're setting the epic name in this line. And here we're setting all the normal fields and custom fields like CRA ID number, target start, target end. And we're saying if the other side, so if the Azure epic has the due date set, then we're going to also set issue.due on the Jira side. Then we also have a status mapping. So if the Azure issue is type new, status new, then it should be to do in Jira. If it's refinement, it should be in refinement in Jira. And we're setting that status over here. We're also setting the assignee and the parent link. This part is just it just has to do with the Jira portfolio add-on that I was telling you about. So basically to set a parent saga or a parent episode in the Jira issue. And now Azure DevOps side. The outgoing sync, it says if the issue type is an episode, then only send the replica.key, because as we said, we don't want to sync any information from Azure to Jira when the issue type is episode. Then if not, we're sending all of these other fields. So if it's an epic, we're going to be sending all of these normal fields and also some custom fields like this one. And we're also sending a lot of date fields like the start date, target date, and due date. We're using date format, string, and date format to actually send these date fields in the correct date format so it can be applied in Jira. And then on the incoming sync, so when we receive synchronization from Jira, we're saying only sync the issue type if the incoming ticket is an episode or a bucket. If not, then don't set that issue type, set a default. Then we're going to define if we're receiving an episode, then we're just syncing these fields, the common ones and this custom field here. Then we define our status mapping again if it's of type episode, and we set it here. Then if it's not an episode, so for any kind of issue, we're always going to sync the attachments and comments. And then in this last few lines, we're going to be setting the start date, target date, and due date fields if there's if they come from the Jira side as well, those custom fields. Thank you.
You saw, we have the two options. We have something simple, like I showed in the beginning. You synchronize out of the box with comments and title and description and some other fields, or you have the robust, flexible scripts to do all this advanced scenario like Andre showed. I forgot to mention that these scripts, you can delete a line of the scripts if you want to stop sending that information to the other side, which makes Exalate with its distributed architecture very easy to control your privacy of your instance. That is included, that is not, I didn't include it, but that's also a very important feature because some companies only want to send specific information from one instance to the other. Each of the companies or the instances will have this Exalate panel where they control the data. So thank you for attending the webinar. If you have any questions from this case or Andrew's case, again, you can drop them on the live chat and we'll answer as soon as we can. And yeah, thank you. I'll pass it on to Manoush again.
Thank you, Jose. Okay. So would you like to try Exalate? It's very easy to get started. You can easily install Exalate on each side of the synchronization, then connect both sides of the synchronization and configure your sync according to your specific use case. Most users manage to set up a basic synchronization in less than 30 minutes. And whenever you have any questions, you can visit the Exalate community or reach out to one of our partners. Okay, so if you think that Exalate is a solution for you or one of your clients, you can easily, let me share the pop-up with you. All right. Okay. So if you think that Exalate is a solution for you or one of your clients, you can easily book a demo or start a trial clicking on the pop-up in the chat. That's it for now. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. Have a nice day.